Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our scenario is entitled Bird's Head, and this is episode 3. It was written by Mick Swan, who is also our GM, and the recap will be given by Thomas McKeon. So sit back and imagine the tropical heat of the South Seas. The players are ready. Let's begin our journey into the darkness. Tom?
Thanks, Tom. Not much happened in our last sessions, actually. As we were sailing to Australia, to Darwin to be specific, we came across a strange ritual, so to speak. The captain and the first mate had taken two petty officers, and put them on the deck. Oddly enough, we were on the deck as well, and when we approached, we saw that they were naked and that the rest of the crew were banging broomsticks on the deck. We were confused and we watched, and when they started proclaiming to Father Dagon and Mother Hydra, we became a little concerned. But it turned out that it was just a prank as they were crossing over the international date line. We then landed in Darwin, where we began our journey towards Papua New Guinea. And that is all I have written.
That sounds about it.
Yeah, that's really all that happened last session.
Yep, that's about it. Well, I think when we left you last time, you had received a message from a Professor Brian Lara of Darwin.
And I believe we were going to go speak with him, weren't we?
I think you were just about to do that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what was his name again?
Brian Lara, Professor Brian Lara, Lahrer. He's an ethnologist.
All right.
All right.
So I'm assuming we hop on the train or whatever and we go there.
What do you think? There's a tram, or you could get a taxi.
Well, I don't know what kind of use I'm going to be on this. I am not a professor, but I'll go along with you.
All right. Anybody else?
I'll join you.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I jump on the tram that's going towards the university, I would hope.
What about Doctors Ardu and Donovan?
Yeah, we should all go, I guess.
Yeah, it goes well.
I think it would probably be a good idea if everybody went, but...
Well, we'll make a day of it. Maybe we'll get something to eat afterwards.
Good plan.
Don't split the party. Also.
Don't split the party.
Oh, there's a party? Nobody said there was going to be a party.
There's always a party with us.
P. Joe, I think you pretty much bring the party.
Thank you.
If you're going by tram, you have to change the tram once, but that gives you an opportunity to ask for some more directions again, which gets you.
Yeah,
going
good point.
there. The nearest tram stop is about. It's only like 4 or 5 minutes walk away from the address. It's not a big city by any means.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, it's quite a small place. So it's quite easy to find. It's well signposted, and
Yeah.
maybe make a couple of wrong turns. You get there. It's quite easy to find his house. It's a quite nice house. I don't know how to describe the architecture. It looks like every other house in the street. It's brown with some white bits. And sort of
It's a house.
faux Georgian windows.
So
All right.
it's got an English look to it. Yes.
Yeah. It's probably Victorian, probably late Victorian, as most of the buildings in that area seem to be.
Well, looks like the professor's doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
seems like it.
Nice house.
Did he say what he was a professor of?
He's an
anthropology, isn't he?
ethnologist. Well, he's an ethnologist, which is kind of
Ethnologist, huh? So basically, you can say that guy's Chinese and that guy's not.
something
Well,
very
I
much
mean-
like that. Yeah.
I don't know. You can get a degree in ethnology.
So, well, I guess go up to the door, knock on the door, and see if he answers.
Yeah, let's go up.
There's a bit of a pause, and then you hear some footsteps and a loud cough. And the door is opened by quite an elderly man. He looks like he must be in his early 70s at least.
So
And,
probably a retired professor then.
He has a few wisps of hair over a balding pate, and a pair of glasses hanging on a cord around his neck. And he's quite well dressed, but a little bit shabby.
Hmm.
And he sort of cranes his head. I think he doesn't look like he's used to the sunlight, and he says, "Can I help you at all?"
Hello, we're from Miskatonic University. We were going to be speaking with a Dr. Lara.
Oh, right, yes, of course, yes. There's quite a lot of you. Come in, and he ushers you in, into a rather dusty and untidy study, and he gestures for Dr. Chase to sit down, and just sort of waves his finger in the air and just says, one moment, and
All right.
wanders off, and over the next few minutes returns a few times with various chairs that he's collected from around the house.
All right.
Some of them dining room chairs, a couple of them folding chairs, and a stool. And he just stands there and counts you, and then counts the stairs, and mutters something, and then goes and sits down in his seat and says, you would have oh, I remember, yes, right, that's it. You're from Miskatonic, isn't it? Miskatonic.
Yes, we are.
That's right. Because Dr. Joyce said that you were coming, so I put a few bits and pieces together for you.
All right. Well,
And,
what can you maybe
Thank
tell
you.
us about? Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Can I just ask, what are your disciplines of you?
Well, I'm a biology professor at Miskatonic University.
Oh.
I am also I'm from Australia originally, so I'm gonna go try and get back to my hometown.
All right. Well, I'm an archaeology doctorate. I just got my doctorate, and this is pretty much my first expedition, so I'm kind of eager to get out in my field and start working.
Archaeology, yeah, right. What about the rest of you?
Ornithology here.
Oh, right. That could work.
Herpetology.
Ah, even better. Yeah.
Birds
Give
and
me
lizards.
just a moment. What about the other two fellas there? What are you?
Anthropology.
Oh, right. You're one of us. Yeah, lovely. You'll have a marvelous time over there. There's all sorts of things to study. And you there?
Well, I ain't no highfalutin doctor like any of them. I'm a cartographer, sir.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, they like you out there, don't they, the Dutch? They always they like that. They like their
Yeah,
maps.
they like their little maps all drawn
They
out.
like
So,
their
yeah.
maps and their surveys. They're after the copper, you know. But look. I don't want to let the rest of you down, but look, you two fellas, what was the bird man and the lizard fella? What were your names again?
The
I,
bird.
uh,
Man.
Jack. Call me Jack. Jack.
Jack. And you fella, what do I call you?
Damien
Jack.
Donovan.
Jack and Damien. Right, look, fellas, I don't want to lock the rest of you out or anything, but maybe your biologist fella might find this interesting as well. But it's just I've been over there in New Guinea a few times, and I've had a few things passed on to me over the years. Now a lot of it wouldn't interest anyone, I would imagine. But if you're going out to the Bird's Head, which is where Dr. Joyce says you were going,
Mhm.
I've got a couple of little bits and pieces I'd like to show you. Now,
Interesting.
there's two things
Oh,
really.
I do have a little bit of an interest in biology, so I'm listening in on this as well.
Well, it has to do with there's a bit of a, I suppose, a legend you call it, but I mean, to the people who live out there, it's not a legend. They say they've seen this thing. You know, it's part of their culture. But here we go, and he reaches into his desk and pulls out a big wad of papers and starts fumbling through it until he finds just an old brown envelope, about an A5 envelope, and he sort of he peers inside it and says, "Ah, right, yeah, here we go. What do you make of this?" Now, look, I mean, this now, even the anthropologists and so forth might find this interesting, because I was shown a couple of photographs. I'll tell you the story that goes with them in a minute, but I'd like you to know, I'd like you to tell me what you think of this. This is apparently, now, I was shown this, and the fellow who found it was a Dutch fellow that I met in the German territory, and he said that when he took the photograph of this thing, he said that it's damaged, and the fellow told him that it's supposed to have wings.
Ooh,
Oh.
I really
This
do
is what
like that.
This is what they call the ropen. Now this is like a flying creature, but it's not like a mythical animal. When you talk to the fellows up there, the fellows out in the bush up there about this thing, you know, they've got their spirits and gods and things, but this thing, they say, no, this is an animal, mate. This is like, you know, you have to watch this, or it'll come down and steal your pigs. You know, it's like a proper thing to them. This is
Interesting.
And what did you call it again, sir?
They call it the ropen.
Ropen.
The rope pin.
ROPEN. They call it the ropen.
Interesting.
That is really.
They say it flies, and it's meant to make a light in the sky when it flies.
You probably mentioned this, but does he actually have the statue, or is it a picture of a statue?
No, it's just a photograph of a statue. Okay. It's quite a dog-eared photograph of the statue.
So,
that is that's really, really.
I don't know where the original statue is. I'll presume that the fellow who took a photograph of it had it.
So it's a legend about this kind of bird-like creature, or almost like a fairy or something, that comes down and steals fruits from plantations or something.
Oh no, this like it eats animals. It's taking kids, they say, but
real.
Jesus.
No, they say it's like it's a big thing, big leathery wings and pointy head with a crest. Now this,
Yeah.
I mean, as an ethnologist, I could say to you that this is a cult object, that this is just, this is a carving.
Hmm.
But then there's this other photograph. Now, this photograph was taken in 1919 by a fellow called de Groot, who he was one of the people not quite onto the Bird's Head Peninsula, but getting up that way. He tried and for some reason failed to start a.
I'm kind of wondering what the ornithologist thinks of that thing.
Huh.
Think some kind of a big bird? Looks like what's that thing called? A toucan?
It definitely has bird features.
Well, my
Good,
initial
you've got
thought
a face,
is maybe it's related to one of the bird-headed gods of Egypt. I mean, there's a lot of different religious crossovers between different cultures,
Yeah.
so maybe they had a similar idea. It kind of looks almost a little bit like Thoth to me.
Well, like I say, it's a very ritualized object. It's not a. It's an interpretation. It's within their style rather than an accurate representation, I think.
Is it actually human-sized, man-sized?
I think he said it was about 8 inches tall.
So quite a large creature.
The statue was 8 inches tall.
Oh,
yeah.
I was gonna say.
Sorry, I meant the
They
actual.
say that
Yeah.
things have got a wingspan of about like sort of 12 to 15 feet.
Holy shit.
Wow,
Ooh,
that's
good mod. Wow.
Big old thing.
Huh.
Now,
Interesting.
Like a demon.
Can Mick? Can I make possibly an intelligence roll to associate it with something that I, as an anthropologist, have some background in archaeology?
Yeah, could I make an archaeology roll as well? To see if I would associate it with anything directly, maybe? Maybe I've heard something more about it?
you can if you'd like to, yes.
Okay.
Which I completely fail.
Thomas?
50. I'm pulling up a dice roller here. Just give me 1 sec. And I fail, but I only fail by 5. Is it possible for me to spend luck points or no?
Well, I'm not sure it's really worth it. I mean, all you can really ascertain, really, is that you can see that it's clearly broken, so it would have had some sort of structure on the back of it. The style looks like the style of possibly similar to the style of the Western Highlands of New Guinea, but different enough that you know it's from a different region. You can see it's quite stylized. It's relatively sophisticated in type. It's not a simplistic figurine. There are some interesting elements to the carving. But without actually having the actual physical piece in front of you, it's very difficult to draw any real conclusions about it.
Okay.
Certainly, it looks like there are cult images that you've seen from a variety of other cultures that follow a similar sort of figurative pattern.
Okay.
Now, my first instinct then is that it's possibly some sort of protective symbol, like it's supposed to protect against this creature.
Well, I wouldn't know. I mean, I was shown it completely out of context, and really, the fellow who showed me it as a curio.
Okay.
You know, I've never seen the original piece.
Well, I got to tell you that if that thing comes swooping out of the air at me, I'm going to shoot it.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because, like I say, about 1919, this fellow de Groot went out up that way, and he was looking to start a tobacco plantation, and the whole project went belly up. Never got off the ground.
Huh.
Couldn't get the locals to work for him. Couldn't get supplies in. Couldn't get anyone to plant up there. Humidity killed off all the plants that he brought with him. It was just a disaster. It wasn't, there's the insects ate things. It's like, it's not. It wasn't the right crop for the place. But what he did manage to do before his business went down the pan was he built himself a little house and a couple of drying barns. And as his crops were failing and he couldn't find anyone to work for him, he apparently spent quite a lot of his time taking photographs. And one afternoon, the way I hear it from this German fellow was that it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He heard a big panicking noise in the local village. Which, bear in mind, is a good sort of like half a mile away.
Jeez.
There was a sound of general agitation, and then about 5-6 minutes later, this thing flew over the top of his drying barn. And as chance would have it, he kind of took a photograph. Now, bear in mind that, this is 5 years ago, and it wasn't much of a camera. I think it was just a little box brownie or something, but he got the best picture he could. But see what you make of this. I especially like Jack, mate. Have a look at this. In fact, both of you. What do you make of this thing? Oh. I'm sorry. I've just turned into a rostrum cameraman. What do you think of that?
Goodness.
I mean,
holy crap. We have legends back in the South about Spring Heel Jack, and that is pretty damn strange looking.
Well, he said it had
looks almost like a flying dinosaur of some sort.
Now the way he told it to this German fellow was that what looks like a long neck on the front of it. He said that was its head. It had a long sort of beak with a big lump on the end. It may even have had something in its beak. He wasn't sure, but I mean he only saw it for a few seconds. It could be. It might have been like a
spoonbill, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I really
Jack,
don't know.
what do you think?
What do you think, Jack?
You're the bird guy.
Yeah, it's hard
From
to tell from the picture. I mean, you can't read too much into these things. So if I understand you right, you're saying the bulb on the left is something in its beak, so its head would be the next bulb to the right as you're looking at it?
Yeah, that'd be about right. So that long bit that looks like a neck out the front, that's actually it's like it's I want of a better word, it's beak.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Which matches the statue description.
Yeah, long, thin beak, winged.
When you first put the picture up there, that's not what I thought. You see the bulb, the sort of the round bulb sort of on one side, and then on the other side of the wing on the other you see another one. I thought those were maybe its hands, and it's got its arms out to the sides and its wings behind it as it's flying forward. I don't know. It's very strange.
Oh, I kind of see what you're saying, Pijo.
Well, I was told
we're looking at its back.
It was coming over the building, so it was going sort of in this direction.
All right, so it is flying that way.
And
gotcha.
This can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
I don't know what that word means, but I'll use it anyway. So that this was its beak, and it either had some sort of appendage here, or was holding something.
Well,
and that this was its head.
Very odd.
This he seemed to think was its neck, and of course these its wings. But what makes me wonder is I've been wondering about this bit, because that almost looks like the wing of a bat or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's got a hand on the end of its wing.
Maybe a dragon.
But
well, it definitely does look like a bat's, like the upper thumb part of the bat's wing to me.
Well, the reason why I was interested in getting your perspective on it, Damien, is because the locals talk about it having leathery wings.
Mhm.
Now, if we're getting some sort of an idea of its size compared to that house in the bottom corner, if it's on the other side of that house, it's huge.
Almost
Uh,
like
And
a
big old
Well,
thing,
wow.
Mick, pterodactyls have been established, correct? We have restorations of skeletal structures.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes,
So
yes.
So then I'm going to look to the group and I'm going to say it looks like a pterodactyl.
You know, that's exactly what my thought was. That was my initial thought. I mean,
Doesn't look like a bat or a.
it looks like
bird.
it could be some sort of large, previously undiscovered pterodactyl
Reptilian,
species.
flying reptile, gliding.
Yeah, those little bulbs in the middle of its wings. Pterodactyls commonly had 3 small fingers
Three
to
of
cling to
those,
rocks.
didn't they? And then the
Kinda
back
looks like-
part is quite
Flying up
obviously its talons, and the front part would have to be its beak, so maybe it does have like a spoon-shaped beak. But most pterodactyls, don't they have fairly longish necks?
I mean, there are like the Pterodactys maximum. It had a smaller beak. Most of them have the crest and it goes up.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't seem to have a crest. It could
Well,
just be the angle of
you
the
know-
photo.
It could.
I'm personally not entirely sure. I believe in the whole evolution thing. However, if we were to apply that concept, wouldn't this be, what did you call it, a pterodactyl? Pterodactyl that's evolved from pterodactyls. So it's not necessarily going to look like anything you're going to find in a fossil record.
Very true.
It's been millions of years.
True. That's very possible. And I mean, in something like the jungle, that's a pretty unexplored area. I mean, there could be species of pterodactyl or pterodactyl ancestors that did appear in the jungle and are still alive in the jungle. And I mean, we wouldn't know about them. They're too big. It's too,
Well, look,
it's too thick out there.
if you think you've seen enough of this, I'll let me make you a cup of tea, and I'll tell you the what I know about the legend.
Oh, please do. We'd be very interested to hear that.
Now,
It's also, just to throw this out there, I was once hiking through the woods with a partner of mine, and he didn't know much about birds, and a blue heron flew over the treetops. He swore it was a pterodactyl. So everything is relative. Everything seems a bit bigger when you're first confronted with it. So just let's not get carried away.
I've actually had a similar experience with a stork, my friend.
The largest
Yeah,
wingspan,
I've seen blue herons, so
I think the
could
largest
just be the
wingspan on a
perspective.
bird is an albatross, which is close to 11 feet. And they do have that sort of bulbish tip to the beak. So it could be a part of the family of the albatross.
an albatross that far inland?
Well, they're mostly a seabird. So it's, we're talking about on an island, right?
True.
well, like I say, I never met the fella myself, and I got the story in the photograph secondhand. So,
Well,
I mean, the fella was out there with a failing business. There's nothing to say he wasn't hitting the source. And
Mhm.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
tell you right now, if we encounter anything like that, I'm bringing it back to you dead.
I don't blame you, Pijo.
well, now
Yeah,
Well, from
I
the-
agree with you, Pijo, there.
Well, now wait a minute. Let's not get trigger happy. If this is a one-of-a-kind thing, this could be a huge scientific discovery.
Well,
But
could
if
it really be a one of a kind thing? There'd have to be a whole bunch of them.
But if there were a whole bunch of them, there would be way more recorded sightings. It wouldn't just be a legend. It would be
True, it would be more.
Well, except that there's just lots of area out there that's unexplored.
Mhm.
well, now the
Well,
funny
it's
the funny
explored.
thing
It's just
is,
not
though,
explored by the first world.
the local fellas they say it comes out at night. which is kind of odd because this photograph was taken during the day.
That's unusual.
So it's normally more of like a bat-type nocturnal creature. I mean,
They call
Are
it
there birds that
the
fly at
flying
night?
terror.
Is there any odd things that happen to it when it's flying at night? Anything like that?
Well, they talk of a light in the sky, like a greenish light, and I mean now this part I can tell you about because I've seen the lights. Now this was years before I was shown this photograph, but I was out in the Western Highlands with the Kajari people, and one night we were sitting by the fire, and there were 4 or 5 green lights up above the tree canopy moving around. And I thought they were just like, fireflies or something just above us. But they were saying they were roping off in the distance.
Hmm.
And the funny thing is, well, in my mind, the funny thing was that the lights, they weren't constant. They'd get brighter and duller.
Huh.
Like suddenly they'd get very, very bright. Then they'd fade away again. It was
Interesting.
very odd. I mean, I know there's things, there's all sorts of things like will-o'-the-wisps and things that can cause lights like that. I mean, I didn't see any great big flying monsters, but I didn't hear anything. Well, other than the insects, but you'll know what I mean about that when you get there. There's a lot of noise at night.
Yeah.
It could easily have been some kind of natural phenomenon that's just become part of their culture. I mean, I'm not for a moment saying that these are real things that are out there. I'm just, Dr. Joyce asked me if I'd share a bit of information with you, and this is about the most interesting
was that?
thing I've got.
Now,
Sound like a
the-
foghorn.
maybe they had a ship come in. I don't know. Well,
I'm sorry. I think my cat wants to come in from the garden. Can you excuse me for a moment?
all right.
Can we look
Bubbles.
around his room while he's
Bubbles.
out?
Yeah, I mean, there doesn't-
Aussie Bubbles, come on.
Are you describing his work area as if this is kind of an eccentric professor who's got a lot of junk and
Mhm.
it's organized in his mind, but not to anyone
Anyone
else?
else's, yeah.
It's very much that. I think by the looks of it, you get the idea that his primary filing system relies on the depth of dust. It's very dusty. It's very cluttered, but there does seem to be a sort of order to it.
Mhm. Method
And
to the madness.
certainly
That's where things
see that,
are.
I mean, he's not just some nutcase pottering around. You can see that there's definitely
Oh,
there
bless
are
you, Arthur.
works in progress. There's coherent notes and writings that he's obviously in the middle of. That he's obviously keeping up with his work.
Hmm.
Yeah, obviously the dust is getting to Arthur.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
Yes,
said bless you.
It's very dusty.
Hmm.
Especially since he opened the door to let the cat in. It's blown up a bit of the air.
I say,
So-
the triple wart sea devil. It's a breed of anglerfish.
Mhm.
The anglerfish, they got these lights on the front of their heads that attracts fish. Fish are attracted to the shining light.
Mhm.
What if this is some sort of like Pijo said, an evolutionary trait of theirs?
That would be feasible. I mean, if a fish can evolve it, certainly a bird could.
Well, or like you were saying, a pterodactyl or some sort of lizard thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Isn't a dinosaur a lizard?
Well,
Well,
Reptile.
reptile, but it's related. It's a similar like family. It's not. It's definitely the same like
Oh,
general
I keep
group.
thinking is
But
if that thing flies over and takes a dump on us, oh my god.
Yeah. I mean,
well,
Yeah.
if it uses the light to attract prey, that may be the least of our worries.
well, it sounds like it usually comes out at night, and it's primarily focused on fish. So, if what he's saying is true, so I don't think we have anything to really worry about. I don't think humans are in its on the menu. I don't think.
Well, you said it would it's taking babies.
Taking children, yeah. So it's certainly maybe it is after.
Well, look, if I
Young
see
human.
a big light coming at me from the sky, I'm shooting it.
Yeah, I'm with Pijo
Yeah.
on this one.
There
I
you go.
hope it's not somebody.
I brought you some tea there. If there's a few biscuits. I don't know how fresh they are.
Well, it's all right. Thank you,
But,
Doctor.
Yeah,
tuck
thank
in.
you so much.
Yeah, tuck in. Now, as I say, I was passed this by a German fella. God alone knows where you'd find him. I mean, you know, it was a few years ago, and maybe he went back there. Maybe he went back to Germany. It's I wouldn't know where to start looking for him. But you know, he didn't have a very high opinion of the Dutch fella.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't go into any details, but I didn't get the impression that they were friends. I have no idea how he got hold of the picture.
What was his name, the German fellow?
Do you know, I can barely pronounce it. It was Joachim or Joachim or something like that. I don't know. And Fraus.
Joachim. That would be Joachim. It's a biblical name, Joachim.
Joachim Fraus, I think his name was. Fraus or Fraus. One or
Okay.
the other. I mean, he was just a fellow, you know, he's just like a, I don't know what they call him now, but years ago they would have called them adventurers or, you know, just fellows who go out in the bush looking for opportunities, business
Yeah,
opportunities.
so he was an
Whatever
explorer.
that would be. Well, kind of, yeah, he wasn't an academic man. You know, just one of those fellas who go off looking for gold and jewels and
Just an
trying to make a
adventurer.
fortune and things. And
Gotcha.
you know,
Right,
I mean,
well-
when I met him, I think he was a bit short of the readies. So, you know,
So-
he sold me these pictures for a few bucks as a curio.
So
It
now,
was really the picture of the statue that interests me because you know it's an interesting artifact, but he wouldn't part with the original.
Have you ever been able to figure anything out about the statue in the years since?
Well, only I mean it's Western, and it's certainly it's in the style you'd expect. If there's a coherence of styles in the region, you would expect some variant on that style to be the predominant style of that region in the Bird's Head Peninsula. But other than I mean, there was a as I'm sure at least a couple of you know, there was a Dutch expedition up there. The first expedition in, they were the fellas who really annexed it and planted the flag. That was what, 1920, and I don't know what they brought back with them.
Yeah, that was the Landau expedition.
Yeah, they. I mean, I know they did
Yeah.
a little bit of mapping of the valley and.
Have you ever seen any other?
Right,
Have you ever seen any other examples of this thing, this kind of statue?
There was something about 6 years ago. There was a dealer in Canberra had a piece that was kind of similar, but it was just a mask. And the mask did bear a resemblance to the head of that statue.
Now,
I mean, it was
I'm
a
a little
wearable mask. It wasn't a hanging mask. It was a wearable ritual mask, which, you know, I mean, you'd expect. They're big on their rituals and dances, those folks.
Now, I'm a little curious concerning the supposed kidnappings this creature did. Did they ever find any remains or anything of anybody who was supposedly attacked by this thing?
Oh, do you know, I think that's, I mean, that's way more specific than any information I've ever been given. I mean, I've been told that they take babies. I've been told that they take pigs. No one's ever supplied a verifiable case of
Right,
one
so,
of these things.
Yeah, it sounds
very
like
much
something
strange legend.
that you tack onto the end of a story to make it sound even scarier.
God.
Yeah, I was told the legends by other people, and 2 or 3 tribes have told me the legends, and then that photo. You know, and whether the photograph actually shows you a real live ropen, or whether it's just an old bed sheet window or something, I couldn't tell you. But
Well, true. It very well could have been something that got kicked up by the wind and just looks bird-like. That's probably what it is.
Well, look, I mean, if it's of use to you, you know, there they are.
All right. Well.
You're welcome to
Thank
borrow
you for the
them,
information
and
anyway.
I'd appreciate you bringing them back. But
Thank you.
you know, I thought this is about the only thing I know. Well, not the ropen, but the statue is about the only thing I know that I think looks like it came from the peninsula.
Is
And
there
it could be a very convincing. The other photograph could be a very convincing fake. I mean, maybe he did something like throw a bed sheet up in the air, just to have something to bring back to get famous over.
I don't agree with that. I really think it's the real deal. I don't think there's no way that guy can fake that kind of.
I don't
Well,
think
I mean,
it's likely
that Barnum fellow, he made quite a bit of several like gaffes that looked very real. You know?
Well, except that this guy's not trying to make any money out of it.
Well, how do you know he wasn't trying to make money off it? He had a failed plantation. Maybe he was trying to recoup his losses by inventing this story about how he saw the roan pen or whatever.
Well, I'll tell you, all I can say is, I mean, from I guess from your perspective, Jack, be a nice thing to pin your name to if you get hold of one.
Do the locals, is that what they call us, the ropen? Is there
well, I mean, the tribe that I was with call it the ropen.
Okay.
And then others, it has different names in different dialects, but Flying Terror or all sorts of different things.
Well, I actually got a question on you. So you've been to New Zealand? I mean, New Guinea. What's the terrain like? Is it mountainous? Is it flat? Is it?
Oh, it changes. It changes very, very rapidly.
So it's got
the area you're going into. I know is you'll be heading into the Big Valley, which is pretty easy going by Guinea standards. I mean, it's
right.
It's not flat, but it's it's almost pasture.
Wow.
Villages with big gardens and fields. It's supposed to be very beautiful, but then once you head up into the highlands and the mountains, you get very steep terrain. In any of the jungle, it's so thick that you're in single file and you're cutting your way through, and it'll take you a day to get a mile and a half.
Wow.
Especially if you're dealing with the bearers, and you've got to keep all the bearers in order and not lose any of your stuff, not have anyone falling over.
Now, are there any like particularly venomous or dangerous animals we should be aware of while we're out in there?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of that. Snakes, spiders, all sorts. I mean, I've no idea what you'll find. Every expedition I've been out on over there, we've had people. We had a fella on our expedition, a mycologist. He sat down just to tie his shoelace, and found 2 new species of fungus growing on the log he was sitting on. So, you know, it's an exciting place. I mean, certainly. I mean,
Fungus.
for
They've
birds,
got-
I mean,
they've
you know,
got-
birds, and I'm not so sure about lizards. I mean, we saw lizards and snakes and things there. Birds and insects, my God, yeah, you have no shortage of. You'll find something. I guarantee you'll find something, and it won't be that difficult either.
I'm just looking for something nice and high that I can stand on so I can do some surveying.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where you're going, you've got 2 mountain ranges. You know, you've got 2 big mountain ranges.
Maybe we'll find some fossils out there or something too. Might be interesting. I'm certain we'll all find something.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know how good it is for fossilization in the jungle. I would have thought everything gets picked over, but
Well,
I just don't want to find no
Things
roping
change.
coming down at me.
Pijo, it's probably nothing. Like I said, probably a blanket or something that got tossed up in the air.
Well, if I see a blanket coming at me, I'm gonna shoot it.
Well,
You think with a gun? I'm pretty sure your brain is in your gun, Pijo.
I'd go easy. I'd go easy with. I know you American fellas like your guns, but I'd go easy with your guns out there. You know, they're friendly people. I mean, they have their wars. You know, they'll have big fights between the different groups, but
Yeah, Pijo, you
for
don't want
the
to scare
most
them.
part, they're pretty relaxed fellas. You know, they just get on with their business. But you don't want to
Gotcha.
go looking for trouble with those fellas because
So
they'll
there's
eat
really like no tribes out there we would have an issue with as long as we're, friendly, polite, and we kind of make sure we're staying level-headed.
And not shooting
Well,
the guns off.
you wouldn't want to go near any of the uncontacted tribes without some of the local fellas.
Okay. Gotcha.
Any of them headhunters?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
That's
there's
nice to know.
Plenty of headhunters.
Yeah,
I
I
will-
think you
There's-
need your head to shoot
there's
your
a few
gun,
out there-
Pijo.
There's a few out there that are still cannibals, but
well, it
you know
just
they
makes me wish.
mainly eat their own dead. It's like a ritual thing. But I mean, it does happen. I mean, sometimes they have what they call revenge killings. Some of the tribes.
Did you just say that they eat their own dead?
Yeah.
It's called
Oh, yeah.
ritual cannibalism. It's fairly common, from what
Oh,
I
yeah.
understand. Some of the uncontacted tribes.
They share
Okay.
the spirit of the dead. Not all of them, just some of them. You know, some of the tribes.
It's
do.
considered a sort of mourning
Some
procedure,
of them
from what
make
I understand.
mummies.
So they eat their own dead in the morning.
Well, I don't know
No,
what time.
it's-
I don't know what time of
Weird.
day they
Well,
do.
it's-
I think,
It's
they
sort
have
of
a
it's sort of
big
like a
feast.
funerary rite. Sort of like
Yeah.
how we bury our dead, they eat their dead.
Have a big feast, cook up granny.
Oh shit!
Something about, I guess, taking the
I'll
spirit
tell you what.
into their body.
Did you
I'm
make
just
that?
going to do my mapping, and you guys worry about people eating their dead relatives.
Well, look,
Well,
I mean,
if you're not
there-
related to any of them, you have nothing to worry about.
unless any of you fellas have got some more
Maybe
questions, I was going to plow on with my work.
Yeah, let's
Well,
not bother the doctor so
Yeah,
much. The
yeah. Good
professor.
point.
Professor,
I'm sorry,
can I
I'm
ask you
sorry,
one
I
more?
haven't got more. But what was that, fella?
Can I ask you one more, Professor?
Yeah, please do.
The,
What?
the local tribes and such, is there anything that they, I don't know, collect that we could bring as like a peace offering or something like tobacco or beads or?
Oh, they
money?
like tobacco. They like their betel nuts. You might be able to get some betel nuts from a trader somewhere. They like chewing their betel nuts.
That's a beetle nut.
Oh, you'll find out all about betel nuts when you get there, mate.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's their version of booze. That is the betel nut. Chew them so they've all got the black teeth.
Well,
But,
it's 5 o'clock
um,
somewhere, as they say.
I think
Well, thank you, sir.
the best thing we had when we were trading with them was just good a knife or a machete. Doesn't even have to be a good one, to be honest.
Mhm.
Metal blades.
Mhm.
I love a metal blade.
Good to
You
know.
know,
Thank you.
it's,
Good to know.
makes life a lot easier for them.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
that's-
just a bag of sago, bag of rice or something. You know, I mean, bear in mind these people are hunter-gatherers. If you can give them like a you know, a bag full of rice saves them a week of work. I'm quite
Wow.
happy with that.
All right, gotcha.
But you
Oh,
know,
there you go.
my one bit of advice I'd give you is to you know, be good to your bearers. There's a lot of people go out there. They treat their bearers like rubbish,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
and
Mhm.
you don't want to do that when you're miles from anywhere in the middle of the bush, and those fellas are the only company you've got. You know, you want to treat them good, because otherwise, you know, they'll be off, and you get left out there without any of the local fellas, and you're lucky to last a night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I
You
can imagine.
eat the wrong berries, stick your foot in the wrong bush.
Well, Professor, thank you for the biscuits and the tea.
Yeah, no
And,
worries.
uh,
no
That was some
worries.
pretty good tea. Thank you.
And we'll
Yes, thank you
Bit of
very
Lipton's,
much.
You know,
we'll leave you to it.
All
right,
right,
yeah.
thank you for the information again.
Thank you.
When you off?
Well, it should be maybe a few days now.
All right. Oh well, good luck to you then.
All right,
And
thank you.
you know, let's hope you fellas find some birds and snakes and things you can get your names on.
Well, we'll definitely credit you for the help when we do.
Oh yeah.
So we
All right.
leave.
Yep, that's so.
All right. So Damien, you're telling me that there are gigantic flying lizards out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Read
I'm not so sure
reports.
I believe that.
I've read many convincing reports of similar critters in the world.
Jeez, I thought everything was bigger in Texas, but holy crap!
Well, I'm still a little bit skeptical about this. I think it could be a very convincing hoax. I mean, again, you throw something in the air, or you set it up kind of on a wire, you snap a picture of it, and there you go.
Honestly,
Instant fame.
And if
I
it
don't-
comes to me, I'm going to shoot it.
Yes,
honestly,
please go. If it
I
comes, we'll
don't
shoot it.
think. I don't think he's faking this.
Shall we go back and get something to drink? I'm parched.
Probably a good idea, but let's not drink so much we get lacquered like last time.
What time does the Betty Jean? The Betty
Yeah.
Jean. We're heading towards Hollandia.
Well, today is the 15th of August, and the Betty Jean leaves at 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, the 17th of August.
So we got the rest of today, tomorrow, and then we got to be on that boat in the morning. Well,
Right.
probably we'll sleep on the boat. I don't know.
Well, we've been sleeping on the boat. I thought that was our plan. Just sleep on the boat, don't get a hotel.
Might be interesting to know if any of the locals also know more stories about these flying bat
It's currently
lizards.
1:45 p.m.
I don't know if
145.
any of the locals will know anything about jungle-based flying bats, given they live in an area that has a massive desert
You know,
not that far away.
I kind of wondered too if these Aussie boys are just pulling our legs.
Oh, I'm certain they are.
Watch out for them drop bears. That's what
Oh
I
yeah,
heard
put
the
a
other day.
coriander on your head. Smear Marmite on your face. They won't attack you, sure. My
Oh,
left
God,
foot.
Marmite on your face would be nasty. All right, let's go get something to drink.
It's
Right.
good for the skin. Full
So,
of nasty goodness.
Yeah, let's go get some grub and some drinks. Nearest pub, or
Okay.
bar, or inn, or wherever.
Well, if there's one thing the Northern Territory has plenty of, it's pubs. Doesn't take you much time to find a pub.
Look, there's one. There's one over there.
Yeah, you go 5 feet, you see another pub. You go another 5 feet, you see another pub.
But most of the pubs will take the same form, that they're just a sort of big open thing with a bar in the middle, and a lot of surly middle-aged men standing around grumbling because a woman's just walked in. What the bloody hell is she doing in here?
You know, I'm used to this sort of treatment.
What sort
I
of
don't
place
even.
is this now, then?
No, I don't entertain it. I don't entertain their discussion. They got a problem, they can take it up with me. I'll deck them.
No one says anything to you, but you can just tell them they're grumbling and they don't like the idea that their male space has been invaded. It is, after all, it's 1924 in the Northern Territories of Australia.
Mm-hmm.
It's not most. I'm not going to say anything nasty about it because there might be Australian viewers watching. But look, let's be honest. Darwin, 1924. Pretty sexist. I think I can say that without being controversial.
I'm pretty sure you can say that without being controversial. Yes.
And you could probably go up to 1954.
Just like you'd say without controversy that
1974 without a thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you know, sit down, get some grub, order some beers. I'll let the guys do it, considering this is a man space.
Yeah.
Well, I'm keen to know once you're settled in with your beers and some tucker. I'm keen to know particularly what Jack and Damien think about what they're seeing, because Damien, you are familiar with what will one day be called cryptids. I don't know if Bernard Heuvelmans has coined that term in 1924.
As yet, undiscovered creatures.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, the evidence is it's certainly been around. I've heard of this specific name of this specific purported creature. Seen some evidence in the past put forward. Definitely is intriguing. I definitely want to look into this further.
Well, similarly, I mean, as an anthropologist, Dr. Morton is aware that virtually every jungle on Earth has its tales of mysterious creatures.
Mm-hmm.
The Mekele Mbembe in the Congo, and just trying to think if Deloy's ape was. I think Deloy's ape was before 1924, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any reptiles with the wingspan like that?
Are there any what? Sorry.
Any reptiles with the wingspan like that?
Not existent.
Not contemporary reptiles. No. I mean, you know that there are, as an ornithologist, you know that there are fossilized remains of prehistoric birds believed to have been that size. The Argentine bird, and of course there's the legend of the rock.
True, but that's more associated with like Arabian cultures, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that legend could have spread.
There is evidence in the fossil record of huge birds.
Boas are huge birds.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're flightless.
Mm.
True.
But a bird, and a very large bird, and from the same kind of part of the world.
True. I mean,
That'd be interesting.
I suppose it's feasible.
Yeah. But still, It's
It's just a little hard to believe, that's all. But I suppose it's feasible.
Well, you're the bird expert, Jack.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. I'm not really doubting this at all. I mean, I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in the photography because that, like was mentioned before, that could easily be faked. You know, he did mention that he bought it from the guy for a few dollars. So,
Kernel of truth.
yeah. But the story, I think, there might be some seeds of truth into that.
The story. I mean, Dr. Donovan knows that the story is well documented. That a number of people have reported hearing these tales of the Ropen in various forms, or the Great Flyer, or the Terrible Flyer.
All based out of New Guinea or from other locations around the world?
From various parts of New Guinea, yes.
This is a very common legend, then.
But it's certainly, yeah, people are aware of it. So.
And it's always described as like a bird-like being.
Well, it's a
It's
land.
just described as a great flying beast. That's
all right. Okay, so.
Well, now
a flying.
I'm obviously no expert in any of these fields that you guys are all experts in, but it just seems to me like any kind of a primitive culture living out in the jungle is going to be afraid of things under the ground, in the bushes, and up in the trees, over your head. It's just going to be one of those things that people...
Very possibly.
They're naturally terrified of things that are going to eat you from above or eat you from below. And in the jungle, there's lots of those things.
I mean, and it flies at night, so maybe it's some sort of bat or something. I mean, there's legends of like bat creatures, bat gods, look in any culture all over the world.
Hell, vampires.
True.
Maybe it's just their version of a vampire.
And they can take weird forms. I mean, in the Philippines, there's legends of women who are vampires that can separate themselves from their bodies and fly around as like a ball of organs and a head with big bat-like wings and suck the fetuses out of pregnant mothers.
Oh
it's pretty
God,
gruesome.
where the hell do you read these things? That's disgusting. Holy crap. I think I want to go back to Texas.
I've learned some interesting things. I don't know how true the legends are. Obviously not if they're legends. But there's always a precedence for the creation of some sort of monster. And I mean, there are reports of dragons all over the place in other cultures, so maybe there is some sort of precedent here that kind of just spread through different jungle cultures.
Wow.
Dr. White, by the way, is enjoying the familiar taste of a cold pint of Tooheys, or whatever they drank in 1924. I don't know if it was Tooheys. I'm not an expert on Australian beers of the 1920s.
You did a good job with it, though.
What do y'all want to do tomorrow?
Well, do we have any more leads we should be investigating?
Well, according to the itinerary that you've got, tomorrow is going to be largely taken up with going over the manifest.
Oh,
and we did drop the manifest off, didn't we?
Well, yeah, it was all due to be loaded while you were away. Between sort of you leaving and 4 o'clock, you were told it would all be loaded onto the ship.
Right.
Maybe after lunch, I just want to take some time to head into the city or town, whatever, and get some of those items that the professor told us about.
That's a good plan.
Yeah, I would also maybe like to do a little more research in city on the Ropen and like some of the local legends of the place and a little bit about Papua New Guinea when we're on our way there. It'd be a good thing to know a little bit about it. I think going in.
You might be able to find something in a bookshop or something.
There
Probably
you go.
nothing more than we
Start.
already know.
Yeah, there's
I mean, we
there's no university in Darwin.
Oh, okay.
But we probably know, we probably collectively know more than most people. That's why it's unexplored.
Most of the books that would be of use to you are already aboard the ship.
Yeah, we've already read.
Dr. Morton's
Now,
cabin.
these grilled shrimp are just excellent. You know, I've never heard of barbecuing shrimp. That's
Somebody had to say it.
Shrimp and a baby.
Did they do
is
that
that
in
how is
1924?
that how they refer to it?
All right, folks, what are we going to do tomorrow? Oh, you said we're going to just check our manifests.
You
Yeah,
just
I
asked
think
that, Pijo. We're checking the manifest and
Probably
we're
the
making sure
first
things
half
good.
of the day would be taken up doing that, and you know, you're welcome to spend some time seeing the sights of Darwin.
Well, is
The
there?
site
Yeah,
of
are there any?
Darwin.
The site, just right in the middle of the town. There's just a big lump. That's
Yeah.
the site.
That's
That's the site, the single site in Darwin.
People come from miles around to look at the lump.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's the world's biggest lump.
The Darwin thing.
I'm sure there's something interesting to see in Darwin.
What is it?
I'm
The Darwin
pretty
thing?
sure.
And I might haven't got a bloody clue. It's just a thing. It's over there.
This place is famous, isn't it? It's this historical place here where this is where the evolution of the species was written, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
Yes, the entire town of Darwin wrote on the origin of the species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
then
where it
Charles-
happened.
Charles Darwin.
Happened right here
Charles
on
Darwin
top of the Darwin lump.
plagiarized it.
is where it happened.
The Darwin lump.
The Darwin.
It's never going away, you realize.
Well, no, it's evolving.
Ha ha ha.
Well, it sounds like maybe you should get that lump checked out by a doctor then, if it's evolving.
In
So,
any
yeah,
case,
Well, I mean, it's only been at this point. It's been Darwin for I think about nearly 15 years.
if there's nothing else to do for the evening, I think I'm
Right.
probably just about done.
Same.
I may hang around a bit and look and see if I can find some female companionship, but I don't see any females in this area.
Well, this female companion is going to leave and go back to the ship.
Do you need somebody to walk you back to the ship, my dear?
No, I think I can handle it, Pijo.
All right. So
By the way,
up-
it's called Darwin because the Beagle sailed into the harbour during its surveying of the area.
Oh, really?
And, yes, and John Clements Wickham named the region Port Darwin in honour of their former shipmate, Charles Darwin, who had sailed with them on the ship's previous voyage.
Okay.
And that became the town of
there you go.
Palmerston, which is what it used to be called.
How's how we
In
go?
1911, it became Darwin.
Gotcha.
And at the time you're visiting there, the most famous thing that you know about it is that about 6 years ago, the people there burnt an effigy of the local administrator and demanded his resignation in what was known as the Darwin Rebellion.
Typical Australians, though.
Well, they are typical Australians in that they are Australians.
Yep.
and they say Bobby. All right.
Drip on that, Barbie.
Yeah, let's do it.
Anyway, so yeah,
All right.
I'm going to bed.
And yeah, by the way, if you're going on about the shrimps on the Barbie, there's bound to be a 1920s Australian standing somewhere near you, just going, no idea what they're bloody going on about. Some bloody American thing or something.
If it does not have Vegemite on it. All right. So I'm just killing time.
1924, mate. We're all eating bully beef.
Right.
Bully beef on toast.
So yeah, I'm just relaxing on the ship, kind of reading through some of the books that I've borrowed from Arthur, I believe I borrowed from. Or who was it I borrowed from? But I borrowed from somebody.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, you read up as best you can. The next day, which is Saturday, the 16th of August. Yeah, you wake up at a reasonable hour, quite early. The ship's crew serve you something approaching breakfast. I mean, it's a bit more civilized than things were on the Marquesita. It's not. I mean, it's still not like it's not a cruise ship, but it's not like a grotty cargo ship like the Marquesita is. They have proper cabins. They're used to paying customers up to New Guinea. They're used to dealing with academics. They've taken part in a lot of surveys. They tell you they've recently had geologists on board, so they know how to treat you. They're not in any way put out by your presence here. You're paying customers. Passengers is the word I think that I wanted to use. So after breakfast, it takes most of the morning really. You finish about lunchtime. Maybe after lunch there are one or two jobs still to be done, but everything that should be there is there. Yes, I'm not going to. I think we'll speed things up, and there won't be any problems with the equipment. You've got. I mean, there's dried foods. There's all sorts of things. I mean, things like fresh fruit and things, fresh foods you'll be getting when you arrive, buying them from local traders. But you have dried foods, expedition supplies,
Right.
lots of khaki clothing, and tents, fly screens, mosquito nets, and the like. Pretty much everything, the basic supplies, unless you want anything specific, in which case you have this afternoon to get it.
I'm kind of curious. Is malaria a problem in this area?
No idea.
No.
Well,
There's only
I'd
been one
imagine if
expedition
malaria were a
the one
problem, it would
expedition
be
in
the
there
expedition
didn't
supplies.
report- The expedition that went there didn't report any malaria or dengue.
Okay.
All right.
Well, everything's
that-
on my list.
Actually, you do know that they had problems with tropical ulcers.
Okay.
What?
Mhm.
What in God's name are tropical ulcers?
If you in many cases, if you cut yourself or are bitten by something and start scratching it, you will get an ulcerated lesion because of the conditions there, the general uncleanliness and the humidity and the temperature.
Wet, sort of like
Doesn't
trench
clean.
foot.
Well, it's just your body's under a lot of stress. It's difficult for you to.
Right.
It is a hostile environment. You must remember you're going into a hostile environment. So, party. Would any of you like to pick up any specialist supplies on the afternoon of Saturday the 16th of August?
Well, I suppose I would probably pick up, if I don't have it already, my gear for digging stuff up, brushing stuff off, kind of storing
That
materials.
sort of thing. You'd already have that with you. Yeah.
Right.
You should top up your ammunition you used in your target
Yeah,
practice.
I should probably get
Um,
some sort of gun of some sort, at least some sort of handgun, just for personal protection.
is there any way this might sound extremely weird, but is there any way I can get a harpoon gun?
Why do you need a
they're pretty big.
harpoon gun?
For my reasons only.
Well, I mean, it's not traditionally a whaling area, but I'll let you make
Well,
a luck. I'll
something-
let you make a luck roll, but you'll have to do it with a penalty. Dice.
Well, something I can have that can attach a rope to it. But if I'll make a luck roll.
Oh, like a grappling gun. Gotcha.
Okay, I pass. I got a 46.
Did you roll 2 percentage dice?
I got a 31.
Okay, so that'll be a 46 then. Okay, well, I mean, you find a.
Something so that it can be hooked up to.
Well, I mean, now you do find a harpoon gun, but the harpoon gun you find is like a ship-mounted harpoon gun for a whaling vessel.
Okay.
I think you were looking for a grappling gun, is what you meant to say.
Grappling
It has to be. You're not going to find anything like that in Darwin. It's they've no need for it.
What about a crossbow that I can hook?
Make another luck roll and see if you can find a crossbow.
Do people use crossbows for anything when you've got guns?
No, I don't. I got a 71. So
Crossbow, mate. What do you want a bloody crossbow for? Which you William Tell?
haha.
Says the man in the shop that looks like it might sell crossbows, but doesn't.
Okay.
Would anyone else like to anything?
I would imagine I would try to go at least find like a handgun, just a basic handgun, something that I can use in a pinch.
Well, I mean, depending on what you want, you could find. I would imagine, you could find like a .38 revolver.
Mm-hmm. That's what I figured. Something like that is fine.
It might take it might take you a couple of hours to find a sort of less than reputable gun shop that's prepared to sell a handgun to someone who's just about to get on a ship out of the country.
Now, you got to be, you don't want to get something too powerful. You're a little bit more delicate than some of these big guns will knock you on your
choices are very limited in that you can buy a .38 revolver or a 22.
What you want to look for is a
automatic.
Derringer, but you might not be able to find one.
No, there's nothing like that. It's a very limited selection. There's
No, I end
a
up
fair
with
number of rifles and shotguns, but not a great many handguns.
Well, a rifle.
A
gun
lot
would probably be a better bet.
working guns like shotguns and especially rifles that people will use on the farms and in the bush. There's no shortage.
All right. Well, then a rifle it is.
Rifle's probably going to set you back about $300.
Rifle or shotgun, something in that range. If that's what they have, that's what they have.
You could get a shotgun probably for about $60 or $70, just a double-barreled shotgun.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
Nothing special.
It's going to
nothing
be
special.
hilarious when she
Let's
shoots
start.
it.
Pijo.
Couple of boxes of shells.
I'll
I'll
remind
let
you,
you-
Pijo.
Couple of boxes of shells and a shotgun.
I
for
held my
$75.
own pushing you in arm wrestling contest. I think I can handle a shotgun.
Oh. Is that how you remember it? I choose not to remember it that way. All right, folks.
Well, if no one else has anything to do,
I guess there's not really anything lacking that we don't already have. So I think I'm fine.
Jack, did you go and buy? You went to buy some trade goods.
Yeah, I was thinking some tobacco and maybe a bunch of small, cheap knives.
Okay. Yeah, that's something quite easy to find. You can probably even, if you're buying in bulk like that, you can probably come to an arrangement with someone in the ironmongers, and I think they've just bush knives.
Yeah, nothing fancy.
Yeah.
Maybe we should bring some small bags of rice.
Good plan.
There is already rice in
Sago.
the trade goods. So there's rice and sago in the trade goods that were set out for the expedition.
Put some in a
Because they-
Tupperware container. Hopefully.
Yeah, I was just wondering that. Would the tobacco even hold up in a jungle-like atmosphere?
Well, it tends to be sort of wrapped up in
Okay.
You'd have to keep it dry.
yeah, not greaseproof paper, but
Like wax paper or something like that?
yeah, wax paper, yes.
Yeah.
And it's
but-
in twists as well. I mean, it's not loose tobacco. You'd be buying like big twists of tobacco. So it's-
Right. And then from there, you could probably just portion it off as you needed.
yeah, there you would just get a knife and cut off a section.
I think I'm fairly well armed. I've got a hunting knife, I got a machete, and I got a shotgun. What else do I need?
A grappling gun.
Well,
All the rest
Skin
of my equipment's on the ship, so.
I got the impression that he was thinking something more along the lines of a spear gun, but like for shooting fish underwater. But I don't think they even invented such a thing at this point.
Literally,
Well-
the only thing like that you can find is a great big harpoon gun for the front of a ship.
Yeah, because
Well, there you
And,
go.
and that
If
that
the
would
rope
be very
attacks your
expensive.
ship, you can
because
use
that
that.
would be a bit of modern high-tech kit as well, because most whalers are still using
Right,
hand-thrown
right.
harpoons.
and a handheld spear gun, you'd assume that you could breathe underwater, with scuba gear, but they don't have scuba gear yet, I don't think.
No, they have scuba gear, but it's big, bulky metal scuba gear.
Well,
Yeah,
you've got
I'm not sure.
It's not self-contained stuff. No, they drop divers down with a line connected to a pump on
Yeah,
a ship.
that's what I meant.
Well,
So it wouldn't do much good for fishing.
I
Mhm.
just thought that it would be good in case we do encounter that thing.
Yeah, you're gonna Jeepers Creepers that thing, aren't you?
That was the plan.
I thought it was a good idea.
Well, on a similar note, in the equipment that would have been sent out for Dr. Ardu, you would have a mist net, which is a large net, very fine net that is set up to catch birds.
Okay, I
allowing you
think I
to
know what you're talking about. Yeah.
catch and release live birds.
Well,
Let's hope that thing doesn't fly into your net then.
Whether that would hold a giant flying monster is unlikely. I would
Oh, it
imagine.
won't.
It would probably go straight through it, eating some of the birds
Yeah.
in the net on the way through, I would imagine. But
It's meant for little finches, not giant ropins, right?
Hmm.
that's right. So unless you want to do anything with your last afternoon in civilization,
No, I think I'm good. I think I have what I need.
well, they don't have what I need, but
Well, they have what you need. They just don't have what you want.
in that
Yeah.
case, the day comes to an end.
How long is the
yes.
trip across?
Yeah.
I'm just looking. It's about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Is there any way?
I mean, Papua New Guinea is one of the largest islands on Earth.
Hmm.
So
Is there-
it's got a very long coastline. It takes in a steamship. It takes quite a while to get around it.
Mick, is there any way during the 2-week journey that I can somehow craft something in that thing as just the makeshift one?
You
Like
are really, really, really desperate to get a harpoon gun, aren't you?
No, not a harpoon gun. Something that will have a rope or something like that to at least.
Well, I mean, what sort of applicable skill would you be trying to use? I mean, you could probably, I mean, if you got to New Guinea and you were nice to a tribesman, you could probably buy a spear from him and tie a rope to it.
There you go. Go low tech.
Guess that'll work.
But remember, you're a
Yeah.
biologist, not a hunter.
Yeah, I mean,
I know.
you
Yeah, what's your
don't
throw? I mean,
really have any applicable skills to sort of for the
Check
building
it now.
of improvised projectile weapons.
I think I would, over the course of that week and a half, probably continue working on my shotgun skills.
Apologies, by the way, to any biologists watching this who do actually have very well developed improvised projectile weapon building skills. I
Can
don't wish
confirm,
to
am
generalize.
biologist.
Don't want to generalize.
No
too much.
biologists were harmed in the making of this campaign.
Well then, we get to dinner. Really,
Mhm.
you have a pretty basic but quite enjoyable dinner, and the captain brings out a bottle of something that in the mind of a sea captain might be classified as wine, but to the palate of the drinker may contain hints of vinegar.
Hmm.
But it's something with which you toast your last day in civilization. And with
Right.
that, and dreams of flying monsters, you go off to your beds. And the
Indeed.
following morning, you set sail.
Back on the sea.
Back on the sea, and the voyage is so uneventful that we're just going to skip it, I think,
All right.
because we've already spent far too long on a boat killing time.
Am I able to practice my shotgun skill in that uneventful journey at least?
Well, I mean, you could, but you've only got 2 packets of shells,
True. Okay. Point.
so they're going to be exhausted quite rapidly.
And we also point out
And
to you
there's
that
no guarantee that you're going to get any ammunition.
there's basically with your shotgun, you just got to point it in the direction of where you want to kill something and pull the trigger,
Good
and
point.
it's gonna spread out. There's no accuracy to it.
Hmm.
Try,
It's a
try not
boomstick.
to hit yourself in
It's
the
for
face.
it's for putting big holes in things.
Yeah,
Yep.
for killing that rabbit that's running away from you, or that giant bird roping creature coming at you.
All right.
Okay.
A giant angry bird that has a harpoon stuck through its back end.
Yeah,
Rope tied to
Angry
cord.
birds
Dragged.
got thrown by a trebuchet.
just it goes flying away with Corey hanging. I mean, with Dr. John White hanging on a rope, flying over the jungle.
I told you it would work.
All right. So, we're skipping ahead to
Yeah.
Manaquari.
We are skipping ahead to, yeah, I mean, you pull in at Hollandia, where you pick up I think the bulk of your perishable supplies you're going to pick up in Hollandia.
And where are we supposed to meet
And our
Beppu?
our
You
new
are going to
crew
meet
member, or whatever.
Wepu. Oh, sorry, yes, you do meet Wepu in Hollandia, so we'll go to Hollandia,
Okay.
which we have a picture. So Hollandia, oh, hang on. For some reason it hasn't come up. There we go. Hollandia is.
Oh,
is
it's actually
quite
kind of pretty.
it's quite a simple looking place. It's wooden
Quaint.
buildings, and full of wooden buildings, and a few you can see there's sort of some more sort of native-y looking huts here and there, and the majority of buildings are quite simple. It's not a. I mean, it passes, but it is the main centre of the Dutch presence in Dutch New Guinea, but it's not a sort of overly built up place by any means.
Well, I'm really quite surprised. It's not as flat as I thought it was going to be. There's going to be a challenge to.
Well, I
map
mean,
this.
it's an island. What did you expect?
Well, I expected, a gentle, slow rise to the middle, and then a gentle, slow rise back to the other side. But
Well,
drop down to the other side.
Well, even though
no
you're just taking
cartographer,
on
but-
supplies and your guide, it does give you your first taste. Just setting foot on the dock, which is
Yeah.
a rough
Is this a
dock.
volcanic island?
There are volcanoes on the island, yes.
Interesting.
Active?
There you go. Just shoot your giant bird into the volcano.
It is known for them to be.
Ah.
Kentucky Fried Ropan.
But it's your first experience of it's your first experience of New Guinea, and the sheer physical effect of the temperature and humidity, even on the coast, is quite overwhelming. I mean, it's like you walk, even with a nice breeze coming in off the sea, it is oppressively hot.
Feels like Houston.
You're on the dock. There's no shelter at all, and you can feel the heat.
Best be drinking a
Crushing.
lot of water. We're gonna get dehydrated if we don't.
While the crew is getting your perishables for you, it seems that word gets around, and a gentleman comes walking down the dock towards you. I will show you a photo of that gentleman as well. Hang on. Apologies for my incredible crapness with presenting things. There's a gentleman in of indeterminate age, but probably middle-aged, and from the waist up, he's dressed in quite traditional clothes, and from the waist down, he's wearing a pair of khaki shorts and some sandals.
Okay, so clearly a native guy.
Clearly a native gentleman, and
This has to be Wepu.
oh, what have I done? I'm just sorry. Oh my god, I've just started Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft New Guinea.
Stop sharing. Oops. Oh, I don't know how I did that. Yes. So this gentleman comes down, and surprisingly, he greets you in English.
Well, good
And
afternoon.
introduces himself as your guide.
Right, you must be Wepu then. Nice to meet you.
How do you do, Miss? Misters?
Chase, Sharon Chase.
Wepu.
Nice to meet you, Wepu. And I'll
Nice to
extend
meet
my
you,
hand to
Wepu.
shake.
Hello, hello, hello.
So where did you learn English, Wepu?
From the missionary fella.
Huh.
Have you guided a lot of groups into the jungle area?
Not into the Bird's Head, no.
Hmm.
You're the first people who wanted to go there.
Why is that?
No one goes there. It's it's a long way away. Difficult to get to.
Understandable.
People don't like crossing them.
How long of a journey is it to get to the bird's head?
Oh, from here, in your boat, maybe 3-4 days to get to Manakwari. Manakwari, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll pick up the local fellas, and we'll go down the Kiba Valley. We'll take a boat and then go to the first village there.
All right.
And then from there we'll start walking.
All right. Sounds like a plan to me.
Do we know roughly how much time we'll be out in the actual jungle then area?
I don't know whereabouts are you going. Where do you want me to take you?
Oh, I guess I meant as far as our task or our mission.
Mission.
Yeah, like are we supposed to spend a week and then turn around and come back? Like, are we hiking in 3 days and coming back for 3
Well,
days?
he looks quite confused, and he said, "I was told 5 weeks."
5 weeks, okay.
Yeah, at least.
5 weeks. I thought that's what we were doing. 5-6 weeks.
And quite honestly, it's probably not going to be sufficient for my job, but
Mm-hmm.
we got.
Well,
what
it'll
we
be a
got.
start. You'll make a dent.
Yeah.
But you go when you'll have to go and see the governor fella as well when you get to Manakwari,
All right.
because you can't unload without his permission. He has to.
Right.
The Dutch don't like people coming in. You got all your papers, haven't you?
We should.
Of course,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, okay. The Dutch don't like people coming in there.
Hmm.
They think it's full of gold.
Hmm.
They want all the gold out of the ground. There's no gold there.
Well,
They think there is.
green gold, perhaps, but with all the lush life through here.
Is there a green gold?
Well, no, it was
He
a.
looks very confused by this.
I'm sorry. It was a metaphor. It was not meant to be an
Isn't that a
actual
dangerous animal.
gold that's green. No. I was more referring to the plants in the variety of life in the jungle, not an actual object.
There are lots of plants in the jungle. Yeah. He sort of scratches his head and says, "Sorry, I thought I spoke really good English, but
It's all right. I didn't mean to confuse you. I forget not everybody is as familiar with just metaphors and stuff. There's a lot of slang and metaphors in English, so I apologize if I confused you.
Yeah, Sharon, he probably doesn't even know what metaphor or slang or any of those words mean.
I mean, it's just a turn of phrase, really. Wow, this shoe leather tastes really good, you guys.
It's yeah. So, what is our itinerary?
oh, no, I won't let him do that. I was for a moment. I was going to get Wefu to turn to one of you and go, "It's an allegory, anyway."
Isn't it ironic?
Don't you think? Little too ironic.
So there's not really much to do here, you know. I mean, once you're loaded up, we can get off straight away. It'll take about another 20 minutes to load up.
All right.
All right.
I'm
Let's
assuming
get
we'll
our
do that.
stuff loaded. I suppose we need to do a lot of the work. I certainly do. I don't let people touch my stuff.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Well, and my I've got a lot of delicate instruments, so
Mhm.
Well, it's all going to stay on board that ship until you get down to Manakwari.
so
You're
we don't have to move
taking,
it on.
you're just taking on like sort of fresh food, the perishables, and he stands there spits out a bit of beetle nut, rolls himself a cigarette.
Well, Wepu, why don't you come on board and make yourself comfortable? And you said we'll be leaving in about, what did you say, 20 minutes or?
Oh yeah, about 20 minutes. They've just got to load up your stuff, and then we'll be off.
All right. So I'm
Doesn't take
assuming
long.
we kind of all help load up equipment then?
Well, they're probably just getting supplies.
Yeah. And I guess then in that time I'm relaxing on the deck of the ship.
In one of them lounge chairs with a little blanket over your feet.
Yeah. Well, not a blanket on my feet. It's too warm for that, but taking in some sun.
Well,
Not
yeah,
too
then
much
there's-
sun I don't
there's a
want to
good-
burn,
There's some folding wooden chairs, deck chairs, literally deck chairs.
Hmm.
I could get used to a tropical lifestyle, I think.
I live in Odessa, and I'm still not used to this kind of temperature. I lived there my whole life.
Well,
When that breeze comes in off the ocean and it's really hot and it's really steamy, and it's like getting in the water. It's like getting in the bath. There's no relief from the temperature.
It's not bad here. It gets very hot when we get into the jungle.
So this isn't hot.
this isn't bad.
This is there's a breeze from the sea here. It's nice here.
Good point.
When we get up into the high jungle, then you can't feel the breeze anymore.
Yeah, it'll be pretty humid in there, I'd imagine.
It's
Yeah,
very,
I could
how do you say,
definitely-
wet, very wet. in there.
Like you said, we definitely need to bring some water so that we don't. Oh well, we're gonna bring water. Of course, we're gonna bring
Yeah.
water.
Yeah,
Need to
we
make
have to
sure
make
we're
sure we
hydrated.
keep our salt adequate and our water adequate, I would
We don't
imagine,
get-
so we
we
don't
don't get-
dehydrate.
We don't want to get sunstroke.
Yeah. Especially not out in the jungle.
Well, you don't need much. We're not taking on much here anyway, because all the villages, you'll be able to buy food in the villages and trade with them.
Right.
They've all got food. There's plenty of food up there. Plenty of food. It's good. It's good land.
I would imagine. Must be very rich and lush through there, good for growing things.
Oh, it's very good. It's very good land. They've got some good gardens up there.
Cool.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna go. We'll go through where the Hatam people are, which is good. I speak good Hatam.
All right. Anything we should avoid so as not to offend them or anything? Anything in
Yeah.
particular?
Women shouldn't touch men. Men shouldn't touch women.
Gotcha.
The men don't touch the women.
You shouldn't touch women that you don't know.
I see.
And
So they are possessive of that
men
woman.
don't touch women. Well, it's just rude.
Mm-hmm.
You don't if you do shake hands, but you don't hug people, and
Okay. Gotcha.
and yeah, just it's okay, because these tribes up here, they know they've met the Dutch, and they've met people from other places. People belong other places, but when we go further than the valley, if you go further than the valley, then there might be villages where they haven't met white people before,
Mm-hmm.
and they might be worried.
Wow,
I wouldn't want
why
to
you're
spook
there.
them too much.
that's amazing that there are places in the world where people haven't met white people.
Oh,
That's just-
most of this island,
Wow.
I can imagine.
and many places
That
here.
far into the jungle.
Let's
Even for me, if I went too far, I wouldn't be able to speak the language anymore.
Mm.
I think the
Yeah,
captain
many-
The tribes. Wow.
the captain of the Betty Jean is waving at us.
Yeah, we should probably get going.
Indeed. Well, you set off again, and again we'll skip to the Saturday, the 24th of August, when you dock at Manokwari,
Mhm.
which is very, very unlike Hollandia.
Mhm.
Hollandia is very much
Dutch settlement.
a Dutch settlement, and Manokwari is something entirely different.
Nick, I think every time you've mentioned Manokwari, I've written it down in my notes and I've spelled it differently about 100
It's I looked it up. It's Manokwari. Manokwari.
I thought it was Manahuari with an H.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
thought it
was
was Manokwari with a Q and a U, but
Nope.
Well,
Now we know.
and knowing is half the
This-
battle.
This is the site that greets you.
Oh,
when you come
interesting.
To Manokwari.
Hmm.
A group of locals and a few Dutch as well. 2 or 3 Dutch people are standing there. It's a bit of an occasion, really, because other than the occasional trade boat, no one goes to Manokwari.
Hmm.
It's the end of the earth. It's very much, and it's quite. Takes a couple of goes for the ship to successfully dock and find a part of the dock where it's at the right level. But eventually you weigh anchor and you put in this rather extraordinary looking village.
Oh,
Is that like their
Little
church
outsiders
or
now.
their?
That's just one of their buildings.
it's beautiful. They built that all by
Yes.
hand?
Yes.
Like
Wow.
looks
That's
like
really impressive architecture. Wow.
looks like a church, but I wonder what it is.
Well,
It might be like a fishing hut.
As the ship finishes docking, you notice there's more and more people coming out. It's quite an occasion.
Wow, they're rolling out the red carpet.
There's lots of children appearing from sort of nearby buildings,
Hmm.
and making quite a lot. The children are getting very excited. There's a boat.
Can I toss them a few like hard candies?
You can if you want. Yes. Yeah.
Fight for it.
I would
They
caution
know what they
against
are.
that.
Yeah, well, just be careful of your wallets.
Hmm.
yeah,
I think they're mostly trade culture here, though. What use would they have for money?
Well, just be careful of things in your pocket,
Okay. Okay.
like little
I mean,
hands.
the people here, in comparison to the rest of the people of the Bird's Head, as Wepu would explain to you, that the people here are more used to dealing with foreigners.
Well, of course, I'm speaking as a 1920s somebody who has done some traveling. Just
Gotcha.
They live alongside the Dutch, so this is just exciting because we're new people coming from somewhere else.
well, if they were Dutch children, I would say be sure and make sure that your pockets are.
Yeah, but you'd hear them
secure.
coming. You'd hear the clacking of their clogs.
Oh God.
Dutch people, you can send all your complaint emails to Tom at
Into the darkness.club.
I'm channeling Austin Powers, the Dutch.
I love the Netherlands. It's a
All
lovely-
right. Well, I would imagine we
lovely
would
culture.
start disembarking, right?
Yeah, it takes. I mean, it takes you get there probably about. I'd say it's about 11 a.m. when you pull in, and it's going to take most of the day to unload because there's nowhere near as many people or experienced stevedores like there were at the docks in Darwin.
Right.
And as this is going on, Captain Moss, Keith Moss, captain of the Betty Jean, points out to I think Pijo probably.
Yes, Captain.
It's, you see that fella over there. You may have noticed that all Australians have now got exactly the same accent and inflection.
Yeah, and I've actually managed to start to understand you.
Trying to talk with a different Australian accent. Oh yeah, you see that fella over there, right?
Yes, I see him.
That fella over there with the hat on,
Yeah.
the Panama hat on. That's the local governor.
Yes, we were told that we needed to talk to the governor.
Yeah, that's Van Croyt. You want to go and talk to that fella? He's the fella you need to show your visas to and stuff.
Right.
And he'll sort you out.
Well, thank you very much, Captain. It was a lovely ride on your ship.
Oh yeah,
lovely trip.
Yeah, thank you.
You definitely know how to treat passages.
Yeah, you go and sort that out, and by the time you're finished, we'll have your stuff down on the docks there.
Okay.
No worries.
All right, so I'd imagine we go and we talk to the governor as soon as possible.
Mr. Van Croyt. Van Croyt.
Van Croyt.
Van Croyt. Van Croyt.
Kroight. Van Croyt.
Typical Dutch name.
Pardon me, Mr. Van Croyt. We are the expedition from the Miskatonic. We need to show you our papers.
I just quickly want to apologize to Dutch people everywhere for this. Yes, what can I do for you?
All right, so we show him the papers. We were told we needed to speak with you concerning like offloading
I'm
and
not
our
going to
visas.
do an accent there. My Dutch accent is actually bordering on a hate crime.
Well,
right. So what do we got here then? Come on, let's have a look. So right, visas. That's all in order. Right. So you're the survey team from Miskatonic.
that would be us.
That's
Yes.
correct, sir.
Okay. Right. You give me a second. Come with me.
Mhm.
And he takes you off to a shack at the end of the dock. And it's literally just
A literal shack.
a shed with a desk and a couple of filing cabinets in it. And from one of the filing cabinets, you notice it's the one that includes the letter M for Miskatonic. He retrieves a folder and pulls out a few documents and starts having a look through them. And says, right, so you're going up the Tamrail Mountains then, are you?
I believe that's correct, yes, sir.
That's where we've got you as. We've got you going in and mapping the Tamrail Mountains for us. Or
That's my job.
as far in as you can get.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose the rest of your team are going in with you. Right. We weren't expecting you until Monday.
Well,
been
Captain
pretty
Moss did a
smooth
really
sailing.
good job getting you, sir.
Well, we can get. I'll send someone out and see if we can get your bearers down today. They might not be here until tomorrow morning, though.
That's all right.
That will be fine, sir.
We don't mind.
I suppose we could probably find you somewhere to sleep. Yes, hang on. Then he calls over an underling and barks something at him in Pidgin, and he runs off. And he's right. Okay, yes, he'll be back in a minute. We'll sort you out somewhere to stay tonight, and we'll try and get your bearers down.
That's very kind of you, sir.
Yes, thank you, sir.
We've got a storage shed where we can lock up all your stuff. You need to lock it up in there overnight, the customs shed, because these bloody people, they'll steal anything. Anything. Can't leave anything lying around here. It's a nightmare, this place.
Well, if you don't mind, sir, I have some rather delicate equipment that's going to stay with me. I'll sleep on top of it.
Yeah, whatever you need. Take whatever you need. It's
Thank
none of my
you,
business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just here to stamp the papers. There's nothing you need, is there? I mean, there's nothing we've got.
Well,
Not
I think
that
we
I'm
should have
aware
all
of.
of our supplies with us.
We're quite well
we would
stocked.
need.
Sir.
You got any cigarettes?
I do
Well, we
believe
have
we have
tobacco.
some cigarettes. Yes. So. Did you want a cigarette, sir?
I brought extras.
You've got a
I
couple
don't smoke, but I brought some for sharing.
Yeah, well, if you've got a packet of cigarettes,
I've actually got a packet
Yeah.
of Chesterfields if you'd like them.
he takes both of the packets of cigarettes that are offered to him,
Okay.
without so much as a thank you, and just tucks one in his pocket and sticks the other one in the filing cabinet, which he then locks. And says they'll steal anything. He doesn't seem to have a very high opinion of the people there. He's a very red-faced, sunburnt man. It doesn't take a psychology roll to work out that he's not terribly happy with this posting.
Being posted out here, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically, he's the governor, but there's nothing here to be governor of. There's just a little town. There's 4 or 5 Dutch people, some locals, and a ship every 3 months.
So very boring for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. There isn't a smell skill.
Use like spot hidden, smell hidden,
Smell hidden.
Yeah, everyone do a spot hidden.
like in your dog campaign.
Yeah.
Oh,
Smell
sheesh.
hidden.
Yeah, I really do smell whatever it is. I just rolled a
Yeah.
7.
Got a 19.
Failed.
Those of you who do succeed, there is a noticeable smell of gin about this man.
He
doesn't
drinking.
look like he's drunk, but he's
Yeah.
he does smell a bit like a drinker. Anyway, he sorts out eventually, after about 15 minutes, he sorts out somewhere for you to stay for the night. So you clamber together any valuables they've got. He gets the rest of the stuff put into the shed and locked up. Hustled off to what looks like another storage shed with some makeshift beds in there.
Okay.
Looks like somewhere where they put up crews or something from the ships. It's very basic, it's a bit dusty, but you are able
Serviceable.
Yeah, I mean it's not nice. It's hot and it's muggy.
Right.
And it's very difficult to sleep, but you do after a while you do manage to get off, and you drift to sleep. And we will return to you in the morning, and we will begin your expedition proper. And we'll leave it at that for today.
Excellent.
All right.
Cool. Okay, our players included Jen Coulter, Corey Heisted, Sean Little, Thomas McKeon, Jeff Wilkins, and myself, with Mick Swan as Keeper of the Secrets. Please consider visiting our Patreon site. If each of you were to contribute just $2 or $3 a month, we'd be able to cover all of our expenses without any problem. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our show free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. Our musical intro, Birch Run Primal Drive, was composed by our good friend Kevin MacLeod. And is available it's not available. I'm sorry. It's used royalty free under the Creative Commons Attribution License. Feel free to send us comments on the show. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed our broadcast, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows. You'll find links to everything I mentioned in the description below. This is Tom Rayleigh, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.